everyone, welcome to this 6th attempt to record an intro to this video. Muffin has been very busy today. Oh, you can just about see him there. Can I make, there he is. Now he's looking very good and butter wouldn't melt in his mouth. He's been jumping all over the keyboard, he's been rubbing up against the microphone, he's stopped recording several times when I didn't notice. So anyway, this video is about things I enjoy about Australian food, and the next video will be about things I miss about English food and British food. I apologise in advance for noise in the microphone. It sounds like there's a high wind blowing at times. Just Muffin, you can't see him, but he's there. And oh yeah, I wasn't feeling very well last week, so I didn't do a video. I'm sure you wouldn't want me sitting here moaning about how I don't feel well, but I'm feeling fine now. So I hope you enjoy this. I hope it's interesting, and interested to hear your thoughts, and I'll get on with it. So the first thing to mention is probably Vegemite. I think I do prefer it over Marmite, and when I have it I do enjoy it, but it's once every, I don't know, about once every 3 months I think, oh, I'll fancy some Vegemite on toast, so I'll have that. Then Milo. Milo is a chocolate malted drink. It's very similar to Ovaltine, but more versatile and I think nicer. It comes in much bigger tins, it's much better value, and you can use it as an ice cream topping, and you can make a cold Milo where it doesn't dissolve properly and it kind of floats on top, but you put, well, you know, if you're doing it properly, you put loads and loads in, and then you eat it on the spoon, and it's all crunchy with the cold milk, which might sound horrible, but it's really nice. Pavlova, obviously, I know that you do have that in the UK, but it's by no means as widely available. You can even buy like pre-made undressed pavlovas at the supermarket, like all year round, not just at Christmas, and you just can decorate them with cream and fruit. They tend to be a bit marshmallowy in the middle, and I like them a bit more like crunchy on the outside and chewy on the inside. And I think in general people make better pavlovas in Australia than they do in England. What else can I tell you that we have here in Australia that we don't have? Oh yeah, hot barbecue chicken or rotisserie chicken. So when I was growing up in Macclesfield in the UK, there was a shop that I think was called the Chicken Spit, although I'm not 100% sure. And it sold hot chickens, and sometimes Mum would buy one. And I think they were around, but then they vanished, and as far as I'm aware, they haven't come back. So you can buy a whole cooked chicken in supermarkets, I think, in places like that, but it's cold. And here you can buy a rotisserie chicken at every supermarket. They have like a section where they put the hot chickens several times through the day, and they're quite reasonably priced. And so if you want an easy meal, then you can just buy a hot cooked chicken which has stuffing in it and has salad. So it's not a gourmet thing, but it's a thing that makes life easier, and it's very tasty and enjoyable. And there are also chicken shops that sell, they're a bit like fish and chip shops. In fact, sometimes they even do fish and chips, although not particularly well. So they'll do burgers and chips and things like that, but their main thing that they sell is like they have in the back, they have a rotisserie of chickens going around, and you can, so they sell chickens. That's the thing. The meat here in general is, I'm sorry, but it tends to be a lot better quality, except for, you know, some specialist things, obviously, like Welsh lamb. I don't know, the lamb here is absolutely fantastic, but Welsh lamb's another thing entirely. But just in general, meat from, say, the supermarket, or even just from your general local butcher, which does still exist here, I think more than in the UK, even though a lot of them have closed from supermarkets opening. So yeah, you'll very, very rarely get a tough steak, for example. And in general, even though prices have gone up a lot, I think meat is a better value here. Eating out is generally a lot cheaper, and here, and I wouldn't say it was better, but there's it's not as dear as it is in the UK. Although some supermarket food tends to be dearer, so bread has always been a lot dearer, and I don't know why, because we grow heaps of wheat here. Asian food here, there in the big cities at least, there's usually an enormous choice of East Asian food, so Chinese, Vietnamese, Thai, and usually better than the average here would be better than the average in the UK. But the downside of that is, and I ought to mention this in the UK video, but I'll say it now when I remember, Indian food is not generally as widely available or as cheap or as good as it is in the UK. And I think that is just a population thing. It just comes down to who lives in the country, really. So portion sizes are generally a lot bigger. Depending on your point of view, that could be a good thing or a bad thing. I do not know what we would call the national food here in Australia. Tried to look it up and was variously suggested roast lamb. I don't think anyone I know would say that was the national dish. The meat. I think Muffin stopped the video, and anyway, I think we'll be able to join it together again. You are a nuisance, you know. The meat pie is usually a minced beef pie with fairly soggy pastry, so I don't think that should be the national dish. My choice would be the chicken parmigiana, which is a big fat chicken schnitzel with cheese, with like a Italian, like a Napolitan sauce, a tomato sauce, not tomato sauce like tomato ketchup, but a tomato sauce on top, and cheese, ham and cheese. Once the schnitzel is fried, then you put these other things on it and put it under the grill, and it's really delicious. I think that in parts of the UK they have what they call a chicken parma. That's in Middlesbrough. That's a different thing with a bechamel sauce or something. It sounds okay, but it doesn't sound quite as good as the chicken parmy. Bacon is better over here in Australia. It doesn't shrink. It's generally, I don't know what the term is, and I should, with Dad having been a butcher. So in the UK, most of the bacon that you buy is green bacon, so it's kind of more raw. Like for the Aussies out there, it's more like a, I don't know even what you call it. It's not even like Parma ham. It's just not cooked, whereas the bacon here is more like a ham texture, and it's always smoked, so you don't have a choice of smoked and unsmoked, and it's usually delicious, and it doesn't shrink, so it's much better value weight per weight, from a point of view of if you want to eat lots of bacon, make a bacon sandwich or a bacon roll. A bacon and egg roll from a cafe is a popular thing for, you know, people who are out and about for their breakfast in the morning, or truck drivers or whatever, which I think is the same as in the UK. Did a bit of an edit. I finished the video talking about Australian foods and then remembered a couple of things that I wanted to say. So one was that the milk bar more or less still exists, which is a thing that I used to love in England in the 1960s when Mum would take me out to Manchester with my grandma, and we would go to a milk bar called the Milkmaid in Manchester, and I would always have a lime milkshake. Now I'd have to say it didn't taste like lime, it was like just a green, muffin, green flavour I suppose, really nice though. And here lime isn't a particularly popular flavour, but there are still some actual milk bars, and also most cafes do sell milkshakes and also iced coffee. And when my mum and dad would visit, that was one of the things my mum really enjoyed, was having a milkshake or an iced coffee. The iced coffee here is a milk-based iced coffee with ice cream. It's more or less like an ice cream milkshake, a coffee milkshake with made with real coffee with whipped cream on the top and a bit of like chocolate powder. and extremely delicious and extremely fattening. And my mum also enjoyed the mangoes when she was here. So I know that you get them commonly in England now. We didn't when I first moved here, but they do now. But so one of the advantages we have is that they grow here, and so they're fresh, ripe and delicious. Absolutely lovely. I'm sure there was something else. Just give me a second. Yeah, I don't know what the other thing was, so there's the ADHD for you. It was in my mind a second ago. If I remember what it was, I shall put it in the next video, which will be about British food, wonderful things about it, and things that I miss. That's about it for this week. I hope you have a lovely week. I may do this other video early, like just in a day or two, because I haven't given you one for a week, so you may as well have an extra. I quite enjoyed doing this, and I hope you've enjoyed listening. Okay, take care. Bye bye.